Dear students, today we will discuss colligative properties and determination of molar mass. So as you know that when you add a non-volatile solute to a solvent like water, then there will be the vapor pressure generated by the solution will be definitely lesser than the pure solvent, that is water. That means when you take a container and if you take some water in it, then the vapor pressure generated will be called as your vapor pressure due to pure component. But when you add a non-volatile solute like sodium chloride, then what will happen, the vapor pressure generated by the water in the solution will be lesser than the vapor pressure than when it was present alone. So it is because of the reason that when these NaCl will be uniformly distributed in the solution, some of the surface places will be occupied by the sodium chloride, and because of which the water particles cannot escape to the atmosphere easily. So that's why there will be lesser amount of vapors will be formed, and hence vapor pressure will be less. So what is colligative property? So colligative property are those properties which depends upon the number of solute particles irrespective of their nature. So the colligative properties are those properties which depends upon the number of solute particles irrespective of their nature relative to the total number of particles in the solution. So colligative is derived from the Latin word co, which means together, and ligar means to bind. So that is, the colligative properties are those properties which depends upon the number of solute particles irrespective of their nature. So in total there are 4 different types of colligative properties. Those are, the first one is relative lowering in vapor pressure. Generally denoted as delta P. The second one is elevation in boiling point. That is delta TB. The third one is depression in freezing point. Denoted as del TF. And the fourth one is osmotic pressure. Denoted as pi. So these are the 4 colligative properties. So we will discuss one by one. So let us discuss relative lowering in vapor pressure. Relative lowering in vapor pressure. As already I have discussed with you that whenever there is a addition of non-volatile solute, in solvent like water, then in that case the formation of vapors will be lesser than when the water will be present alone. So that's because so we are saying that there is a decrease in vapor pressure, or that is nothing but your relative lowering in vapor pressure. So from Raoult's law we know that P1 is equals to P1 naught chi 1. So where P1 is the vapor pressure of solvent in solution and P1 naught is the vapor pressure of pure solvent. That means when there will be no solute, and chi 1 is the mole fraction of solvent. So why I am referring solvent here? Because generally the subscript 1 refers to your solvent, and whenever the subscript 2 is there, that refers to solute. Now delta P, that is relative lowering in vapor pressure, will be P1 naught minus P1, as P1 is lesser than P1 naught. So if you subtract the P1 from P1 naught, then we are getting delta P, and that is nothing but your relative lowering in vapor pressure. So which is further can be written as P1 naught minus P1, we can substitute the value P1 naught chi 1 from above. So we can take P1 naught common, so the left out is 1 minus chi 1. So this is delta P, or we can say delta P is equals to P1 naught into chi 2. Since total mole fraction is always 1 and it is a binary solution, that's why chi 1 plus chi 2 is 1, or chi 2 is equals to 1 minus chi 1. So that's why we are substituting chi 2 in place of 1 minus chi 1. Or so as delta P is P1 naught minus P1, which is equals to P1 naught into chi 2, or we can rewrite this equation as P1 naught minus P1 divided by P1 naught is equals to chi 2. So this equation can be further solved. So this implies P1 naught minus P1 divided by P1 naught is equals to, and chi 2 is equals to what? The number of moles of solute, that is N2, divided by number of moles of solute plus number of moles of solvent, that is total number of moles. For dilute solution, so means whenever the amount of solute is very less, then we can neglect the N2 from the denominator. So that for dilute solution, N1 is far greater than N2, therefore N2 plus N1 simply it is equals to N1. So the above equation will further reduce to P1 naught minus P1 divided by P1 naught is equals to N2 by N1. And number of moles, we know that we can find the number of moles as given mass upon molar mass. So further this equation will be reduced to, so P1 naught minus P1 by P1 naught is equals to N2, number of moles of solute means given mass by molar mass. So W2 by M2 is N2, and that should be divided by N1. N1 will be your divided by W1 by M1, or P1 naught minus P1 divided by P1 naught is equals to W2 into M1 upon M2 into W1. So we came to the final formula for relative lowering in vapor pressure. So it is P1 naught minus P1 upon P1 naught is equals to W2 into M1 divided by M2 into W1. So this is the formula for relative lowering in vapor pressure. Let us discuss the second colligative property, that is elevation in boiling point. Generally referred as del TB. Now boiling point is what? The boiling point is the temperature at which the vapor pressure of the liquid becomes equals to the 1 atmospheric pressure. As whenever a non-volatile solute is added to a solvent, then there is a formation of lesser vapor and hence lesser vapor pressure will be generated. As lesser vapor pressure will be there, means there will be increase in the boiling point for the solution. As you know that with increase in temperature, the vapor pressure of liquid increases, and when the vapor pressure becomes equals to 1 atmospheric pressure, then we can say the boiling point has reached. For example, pure water boils at 373.15 Kelvin. So, but generally when in water, if you add non-volatile solute like sucrose, then the vapor pressure decreases. So now the solution will boil at higher temperature rather than at 100 degree Celsius. So that the increase in temperature is nothing but your elevation in boiling point. Let us try to understand the elevation in boiling point with respect to a graph. Let us plot vapor pressure along the y-axis and temperature in Kelvin along the x-axis. Let us fix the 1 atm at this particular junction. Now first let us consider the pure solvent like water. So at a particular temperature, let us say the vapor pressure of pure liquid is this much. So at this point the vapor pressure is this much. So the vapor pressure is not equals to 1 atmospheric pressure. That's why we can say the boiling point is reached. So now with increase in temperature, the vapor pressure will increase. So it will increase in this way. So when it reaches this point, now this point is nothing but your 1 atmospheric pressure. That means at this temperature, the liquid pure solvent boils. So further increase in temperature, there will be increase in the vapor pressure. Now if you take the solution where the non-volatile solute is added, for the solution at the same temperature from where we have started for the pure solvent, definitely the vapor pressure will be lesser. Of the solution, the vapor pressure will be lesser. So we'll start from this point and it will goes parallel to the first graph. So with increase in temperature, the vapor pressure will increase. Now at this particular point, see, although the temperature is equal to the temperature of the pure solvent where that particular solvent boils, but now as it is not equals to the 1 atmospheric mark, so that means we can say the solution is boiling. So because of that, what we have to do, we have to increase the temperature. So because of this, on increasing the temperature, the further formation of vapors will be there and vapor pressure will increase. So it will goes up and up and up. Now this point, now it becomes equals to the 1 atmospheric pressure. Now this point corresponds to, so let us say this temperature. So at this temperature, the solution produces vapor pressure that is equals to 1 atmospheric pressure. Now we can say the solution boils at temperature higher than the temperature for which the pure solvent boils. So let us denote this point as TB naught, that corresponds to boiling point of pure solvent, and this point corresponds to your TB, that is boiling point of the solution where non-volatile solute is added. So further increase in temperature, the vapor pressure of the solution will increase. So this difference in temperature corresponds to elevation in boiling point, that is delta TB. So that from graphically we can say delta TB is equals to TB minus TB naught. So clearly we can see this much is TB and this much is your TB naught. So definitely this portion is your delta TB. So that can be obtained when you subtract TB naught from TB. And experimentally it has been found that the delta TB, that is elevation in boiling point, is directly proportional to molality, or delta TB is equals to, so when you change the proportionality sign with equal sign, there must be some proportionality constant, and here the proportionality constant is Kb into molality. So where Kb is molal elevation constant, or ebullioscopic constant. Now let us discuss, or let us define the molal elevation constant. So let us further relook to this particular equation, that is delta TB is equals to Kb into molality. Now when you equate molality is equals to 1, that means for 1 molal solution, definitely this equation will reduce to delta TB is equals to Kb. That means we can say molal elevation constant is the elevation in boiling point, for 1 molal solution. Okay, so that means molal elevation constant is the elevation in boiling point for 1 molal solution. So in this way we can define the Kb. Now what will be the unit of Kb? Unit of Kb, molal elevation constant. So as you know that delta TB is equals to Kb into molality, that implies Kb will be equals to delta TB by molality. So that means therefore the unit of Kb is, now delta TB, the unit will be your Kelvin, that is capital K. Molality, the unit is your mole per kg. So that means it will be your Kelvin kg mole inverse, because molality is in the denominator. So this is the unit of Kb, Kelvin kg mole inverse. Now elevation in boiling point also gives us the information about the molar mass. From this we can find the molar mass of the solute. So let us continue this particular formula and we'll derive a particular formula in terms of molar mass. So that means delta TB is equals to Kb into molality, or delta TB is equals to Kb into, as molality is number of moles of solute per kg of the solvent. So that is number of moles of solute is W2 upon M2. This is the number of moles of solute per kg of the solvent. So it is, in denominator we can write W1 and the numerator it will be 1000. So remember, when the mass of the solvent is given in gram, then it has to be converted into kg. So for that we have to multiply 1000 in the numerator. If the mass of the solvent is given as 1 kg, or it is already given in kg, so there is no requirement of this 1000. So that is, from this equation we can say M2 will be equals to simply kV into W2 into 1000 divided by delta TB into W1. So from elevation in boiling point we can find the molar mass of the solute. Now let us discuss the next concept, that is next colligative property, that is depression in freezing point. Now what is freezing point? So it is the temperature at which the vapor pressure of the solvent becomes equals to the vapor pressure of the solid, or you can say this is the temperature at which the vapor pressure of the liquid, it is better to say liquid, is equals to the vapor pressure of the solid. So let us try to understand, say with respect to the graph that we have discussed for elevation in boiling point. So graphically, so we'll take the vapor pressure along the y-axis and the temperature in Kelvin scale along the x-axis. So we'll start from a particular temperature. Let us say for this temperature, the vapor pressure of this solvent, pure solvent, is, let us say, at this is the point which corresponds to particular vapor pressure at a particular temperature. So when you decrease the temperature, so definitely vapor pressure will decrease, because vapor pressure is directly proportional to temperature. If you increase the temperature, vapor pressure will increase. If you decrease the temperature, the vapor pressure will decrease. So when you decrease the temperature, then what will happen? The vapor pressure of the pure solvent will also decrease. So you need to go on decreasing the temperature. So a temperature will be reached where, let us say, this is the temperature where the liquid, that is in this case we are taking pure solvent. So at this temperature, let us say the liquid starts freezing. So that means this is the point where the solid appears. Further decrease in temperature will convert all the liquid into solid. So that means this portion is pure solid state, this is your pure liquid state, and this is the particular temperature where the freezing starts. So let us denote this temperature as TF naught, as naught for pure solvent. So whenever the component is in pure state, then we can say we have to use the naught, superscript naught. So now let us discuss for the solution. When a non-volatile solute like sucrose or glucose or NaCl is added to the pure solvent, then it becomes your solution. So at the same temperature we'll start for the solution. So definitely, as this solution always has lesser vapor pressure than the pure solvent, so definitely the graph will be lower than this one for solution. So let us say we'll start from this point. So if you go on decreasing the temperature, definitely it will, let us say, it reaches here. But the thing is, at this temperature, although it is the temperature, it is the TF naught, so which is the freezing temperature for the pure solvent, but for solution definitely it will not be the freezing point. Okay, so that's why what happened, we have to further decrease the temperature so that the vapor pressure of the liquid will becomes equals to the vapor pressure of the solid. So further decrease in the temperature, what will happen? We have to go in this way. So let us say at this particular point there is a decrease in vapor pressure, and that is equals to, let us say, that temperature corresponds to TF, that is freezing point, freezing temperature of the solution. Further decrease in the temperature will convert all the liquid into solid state. So that means we can say from this point to this point onwards, this is your frozen solvent. Frozen solvent, that is it will be in solid state. So up to this point, from this point to this point, we can say this is in pure liquid state. It is also in liquid state, but this is the point from where the freezing starts for pure solvent, and this is the point from which the freezing starts from for the solution. So definitely what happened, if you see carefully, so there is a decrease in temperature for which the freezing point occurs for solution. So that means this difference is nothing but your delta TF. So from graphically we can say delta TF, which is your depression in freezing point, which is equals to TF naught minus TF. See, this from this point to this point it is TF naught, from this point to this point it is TF. So when you subtract TF from TF naught, then we are getting delta TF. So this is depression in freezing point. So experimentally also it has been found that delta TF, depression in freezing point, is directly proportional to molality. Same, when you change the proportionality sign into equal sign, then there will be some proportionality constant, and in this case the proportionality constant is Kf into molality. So we have to define what is Kf. So here the Kf is molal depression constant, molal depression constant, or cryoscopic constant. Just like Kb, let us define what is Kf, molal depression constant. Just relook this equation, that is delta TF is equals to Kf into molality. So same, when we assume molality as 1, or for 1 molal solution, definitely this equation will change into delta TF is equals to simply Kf. So that is, we can say molal depression constant or cryoscopic constant is the depression in freezing point, is the depression in freezing point for how much? For 1 molal solution. Okay, so the cryoscopic constant is nothing but the depression in freezing point, but the solution concentration should be 1 molal solution. So the unit of Kf, unit of cryoscopic constant, the same as for similar that we have discussed for Kb, the unit is Kelvin kg mole inverse. The same thing here also, the unit of Kf is Kelvin kg mole inverse. Now let us try to derive the formula further. Okay, so as you know that the molality is number of moles of solute dissolved per kg of the solvent. So the delta TF can be written as Kf into molality is number of moles of solute. So W2 upon M2 is the number of moles of solute per kg of the solvent. So per kg means it should be, denominator should be W1. If it is in gram, then it has to be converted into kg. So that's why you have to multiply 1000 in the numerator. So from this equation also we can find the molar mass of the solute. So that is M2 is equals to Kf into W2 into 1000 upon delta TF into W1. So today we have discussed the 3 colligative properties. Those were relative lowering in vapor pressure, second was elevation in boiling point, and the third one was your depression in freezing point. And from all these colligative properties we can find the molar mass of the solute. That's it for today. Thank you.